But there's also, and you were getting at this, there's also this truncation of persecution that binds it to where Christians have to be specifically targeted. And so I just really quickly, I just wanted to point out Daniel chapter 6, where in Daniel chapter 6, it says that these high officials and satraps, they came by agreement to the king and said to him, "O King Darius, live forever. All the high officials of the kingdom and the prefects and the satraps, the counselors and the governors are agreed that the king should establish an ordinance and enforce an injunction," right? Some kind of mandate, "that whoever makes petition to any god, not just Yahweh, not just Christians, right, but to any god, or," and this is crazy, "or petitions," that's just makes a request asked from any man. So your atheists, your agnostics, they're all included. Everyone, any god or any man, for 30 days. Oh, and it's temporary, right? Just 15 days to slow the spread. Just 30 days of a ban on prayer to any god, Buddhist, Hindu, or petitioning any man, the atheist, the agnostic. "Whoever makes petition to any god or man for 30 days, except to you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions." Right. And so I would just use that as an example. And we know Daniel resisted that. He continued to pray 3 times a day, as was his custom. So he doesn't even ramp up. I think that's important too. He doesn't ramp up just to stick it to the man, but he just continues with his custom to pray 3 times a day. And he prays with the windows open. And I think that's interesting too, because some people say like he's sticking it to the man. He's throwing unnecessary punches. But Daniel is in captivity. He's in Babylon. And one of the things that Solomon actually said, a covenant that he made between God and the people when he christened the temple, when the temple was built, that was if any man or any woman, even if they were in captive in a distant land, would point towards this temple and pray towards the temple, that God would hear their prayer. And so Daniel, with his windows open, even that is not trying to stick it to the man. That belongs to the substance of his worship, not just the circumstances. It's a part of the elements or the substance of his worship. He's following a covenant that was in Scripture. And so Daniel does his custom. He's not ramping it up just to make a name for himself or to play the martyr or to upset the civil magistrate. He's praying 3 days because that's what he always did. He's praying with his windows open because that's obeying a covenantal requirement that Daniel knows because he knows his Old Testament. And Daniel's thrown to the lion's den. But my whole point in saying that is this was not some kind of edict against only Daniel or against Daniel and Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego and all the worshipers of Yahweh. No one could pray to any god or petition any man. It was a universal blanket. And so the most recent example that I could think of is the one-child policy in China. Right. So what are you going to say? So the Christians in China who are doing the underground house church and getting arrested, they're being persecuted. A lot of people would say because that's unique to Christians, even though that's not, because a lot of Muslims are being persecuted in China also. But let's just say, for argument's sake, underground house churches are being persecuted for precisely their underground house church. Well, these people who have this truncated view of persecution would say that's real persecution. Well, what would you say though to Christians who have a second child and hide them? Right? Because that's a universal. That's not just to Christians. That doesn't target Christians. That's any person in China. You can't have more than one child. And China was doing forced abortions and all these kind of things. And so if a Christian woman's pregnant, by that logic, you would have to say, hey, obey the law of the land, Romans 13. Submit to the civil magistrate and, go and get that forced abortion and let them know that you're pregnant with your second child, because that's not church. That's not the gospel. That's just life and family and motherhood. And
they would say at that point in time, the difference is that would be asking the Christian to sin, at which point, well, we can't do that. But right. that only brings us back to where I am, where if we comply with the government, you are telling me to sin.
That's right.
Because you are telling me to hand the keys of Christ's church over to Caesar and to let Caesar dictate to the church the terms of worship. I simply cannot do that. I cannot and will not do that. And so that's where those individuals have to respect my conscience, even if they disagree, even if they think my view of the gathering's narrow. It doesn't matter. They need to respect my conscience as informed by Scripture. And I think it's fair I can say this. I can put forward a fairly robust case for why it is that we ought to gather on the Lord's Day and how the health orders infringe on the gathering.
Thanks for watching this video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, we hope that you'll take a moment and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can watch more content like this. Also, take a moment and give this video a like so that it can reach more people. And take a moment and click on the bell so that you'll be notified whenever we come out with new content. Thanks so much. God bless.